Welcome to Eerie Trail, where forgotten roads, haunted silence, and long shadows tell stories no one else dares to remember. If you're drawn to the strange, the lost, and the unsettling, you're in the right place. Like the video, drop your thoughts in the comments and subscribe for more stories that don't just scare, they stay with you. It started with the humming lights, not the usual buzz of cheap fluorescent tubes overhead. Those were always there, crackling and flickering like dying stars above the dull linoleum. This hum was deeper, subterranean almost. You could feel it vibrating through the soles of your shoes if you stood still long enough. A low, rhythmic thrum, like a giant machine buried deep beneath the building, grinding metal against metal. The Walmart sat just outside a dying town in West Texas, one of those half-forgotten blips along a cracked stretch of highway where the PIA dust never settled and the wind never stopped. Locals called it Crescent Flats, though the flats part was a lie. Nothing flat about it. Just endless hills and empty stretches of red dirt that rolled like dried blood all the way to the horizon. The kind of place where folks vanished and nobody asked too many questions. The store itself looked normal enough. Blue signage, automatic. Glass doors with smeared handprints, rows of empty carts corralled like skeletons in the sweltering lot. It had opened 12 years ago, just before the town really started to rot. First, the factory closed. Then the school district consolidated. Then the pharmacy boarded up its windows after a break-in that never made the news, but left blood across the linoleum and a silence in the air like something holy had died. I was 26 when I started working nights there, stocking shelves. Graveyard shift. The kind of work you do when you don't want to be noticed. And I didn't. I kept my head down, filled the frozen food section, made minimum wage, and tried to forget the things I'd done in Houston. The store was quiet at night, just me, a guy named Hector in produce, and Sharon at the customer service desk, half asleep with a thermos full of whiskey-laced coffee. We didn't talk much. Didn't need to. Everyone on that shift was hiding from something. Then the lights started humming. It was subtle at first, just enough to make you wonder if your ears were ringing. But after a few nights, you couldn't ignore it. And it wasn't just the sound. Things were wrong. Cans in the soup aisle rearranged themselves. Boxes of cereal split open with no signs of tampering. The dolls in the toy aisle turned their heads just slightly every night, always to face the back wall, like they were waiting for something to crawl out of it. I told myself I was tired, overworked, paranoid. That's how it starts, isn't it? You dismiss the signs. You rationalize the rot, but the store didn't care. It kept pulling us in, wrapping us tighter in its stinking fluorescent cocoon. It was Hector who disappeared first. He came in on a Tuesday, same as always. Said he'd had a weird dream the night before. Something about the produce cooler being full of wet breathing. That's how he described it. Not air. Not steam. Breathing. I laughed. Told him he needed better weed. That was the last time I saw him. No call. No show. Sharon said he never clocked out. We found his name tag on the floor, near the back of the store, right by the garden center, the one section that always stayed locked at night. There was a smear on the concrete next to it. Looked like old oil or melted plastic. Smelled like burned hair and copper pennies. That's when the dream started for me. Not nightmares exactly. Just wrong. I'd wake up sweating, heart pounding, images flashing behind my eyelids like static, aisles stretching for miles, voices whispering over the intercom in some language that sounded like teeth grinding together, the break room refrigerator humming with something alive inside, and always, the sense that something was watching, just outside the edge of vision, behind the stacks of water bottles. Beneath the floor. Then came the smell. You ever smell a dead dog left in the sun for a few days? like rot and bile and something almost sweet. That's what it was. It came and went, but it always started near the electronics section. I avoided that area. We all did. Even the cameras started glitching out back there. The security feed would go grainy, then black for hours at a time. When it came back, everything would look just a little rearranged. I asked Sharon if she'd noticed. She wouldn't look at me, just sipped her coffee and mumbled something about keeping your eyes on your own shadow. I didn't press. Then one night, I found the stairwell. There weren't supposed to be any stairs in a Walmart. Everything's one level, right? But near the automotive section, between the tire display and the battery racks, I saw a metal door half open. No sign, no lock, just a cold draft whispering from the darkness beyond. I should have walked away, but I didn't. The stairs led down. Concrete, unfinished. The walls looked older than the building, rough stone, damp with some black slime in the cracks. The hum was louder there, pulsing like a heartbeat too big to belong to anything human. I don't know how long I descended. Time didn't work right down there. My phone died. The air got thicker, like breathing through soup. I started seeing things in the corner shapes that didn't move right, shadows that didn't follow my steps. At the bottom, there was a room, large, circular, the floor covered in symbols scratched deep into the stone. In the center was a hole, a perfectly round pit, blacker than night, wide enough to swallow a car. I could feel something moving in it, something slow, massive, thinking. I stood there for what felt like hours. Then the whispering started. Not words. Not exactly. Just ... urges, pressures in my skull. Images behind my eyes. A woman screaming in aisle 7. A baby crying from inside the walls. A mouth opening where no mouth should be. I ran. I don't remember the climb back up. Just that when I burst through the metal door, it was gone. The wall was solid again, no seam, no handle, nothing. I quit the next day, told them I was moving. Didn't even pick up my last check. But the dreams haven't stopped, and neither has the humming. Last week, I saw Sharon on the news. Her face was blurred out, but I recognized the voice. Something happened in the store. A fire. No official cause. The report said the entire back half of the building collapsed inward, like the floor had given way to a sinkhole. 3 employees. Missing. No bodies found. They're already rebuilding. That's the thing about Walmart. You think it's just a store. A place for cheap plastic and canned beans and broken souls. But there's something underneath it. Something old, hungry. It's not the only one either. They're all connected. Every store. Every aisle. One long, humming thread, stretching beneath the country like veins in a corpse. So next time you're walking through a Walmart late at night, and you hear that low thrum in the air, stop, listen, look closely at the floor beneath your feet, and whatever you do, don't open any unmarked doors. The sky over Garrison, Texas, looked wrong that morning. Not stormy or overcast, just ... wrong. It had that pale, colorless tint like old plastic left in the sun too long, and it hung over the town like a dirty bedsheet. Folks didn't talk about the sky, though, not in Garrison. Not anymore. The Walmart was the only thing still shining out there. Brand new glass front. Rows of flags flapping. Acres of smooth black asphalt baking in the heat. It had opened just 3 months ago on the edge of town, out near where the old slaughterhouse used to be. They bulldozed that place flat, every blood-stained brick, every rusted hook, before laying the new foundation. They said it was progress. I started working there a week after it opened. Overnight stock. Easy enough. I'd moved back to Garrison after my brother Caleb died in a fire no one could explain. They found him in his trailer out near the Pinewood edge of town, curled in the corner like a burnt animal. Not even the propane tank was touched, just his body, blackened like charcoal, and the floor around him melted like wax. No one asked too many questions. I needed something simple, something numb, so Walmart made sense. There was nothing in that job but repetition. You lifted boxes, you placed things, you kept moving. No thinking required. But that store had a rot under its shine. It started with the cameras. We weren't supposed to look at them, but sometimes on break we'd sit in the back office and watch the feeds flicker by. Late night shoppers, empty aisles. Occasionally, someone pacing too fast, twitching. But then, on camera for frozen foods, you'd see things that weren't there when you walked past. A figure in black, just standing behind the rows of frozen dinners. A hand reaching out of the ceiling tiles. A pair of red eyes behind the doors of the walk-in cooler, but only for a second. Then static. Then nothing. We joked about it. At first, until Carrie went missing. She'd worked in toys. Always wore this fake smile. Always. Humming to herself. Said she liked kids, even though she didn't have any. She clocked in one night and never clocked out. Her car stayed parked out back for 2 days before management had it towed. Nobody said a word. I asked Eric, one of the shift leads, if anyone had checked the backstock area. He just looked at me like I'd spoken in tongues. Then he said, "This place isn't meant for people to find things in." That's when I knew something was wrong. Not just weird. Not just glitchy security camera wrong, but sick. The store had levels, layers, more than there should have been. Aisle 12 looped back on itself sometimes. I once walked from household cleaning to seasonal displays and somehow ended up in pharmacy without passing a single sign. The place rearranged itself when no one was looking. And then there were the mannequins. Walmart doesn't usually use mannequins, right? Just racks and hangers. But we had them. Pale plastic things in the clothing section, blank faces. No limbs. At first just torsos with clothes pinned to them. But over time, they changed. Got arms, then legs. Then one had a mouth. No one ever saw anyone move them. One night I found one in the employee bathroom. Just standing there behind the stall door. Mouth stretched wide like it was screaming. No sound. I tried to quit after that. I told the manager. A guy named Lane that I wasn't coming back. He didn't even blink. Just stared at me and said, "That's fine. But the store remembers you." That line stuck with me. I didn't sleep the next night. I kept hearing the intercom voice in my head. You know that calm, dead Walmart voice? Rollback savings, attention associates, stuff like that. But in the dream, it just kept repeating. Clean up an aisle. Kill. And then the lights would go out. Then the dragging sounds would start. I woke up soaked in sweat. The sound of those wheels, cart wheels scraping along tile still echoing in my ears. I moved out of Garrison the next day. Got a job hauling parts up north. Started seeing a girl. Tried to leave it behind, but last week I passed another Walmart. Not mine. One up near Amarillo. I swear to you, same layout. Same parking lot. And in the glass doors for just a second, I saw Carrie, pale, smiling, standing next to a mannequin that looked just like her. And then I saw my brother, charred, still smoldering. He raised one hand, as if to wave. I didn't stop driving. I haven't stopped since. I don't know what they are, or why they've chosen places like this, rows and rows of fluorescent-lit shelves stretching like a trap across the country. But they're not stores. Not really. They're mouths. And every time one of us clocks in, they bite down just a little more. The new Walmart in Trinity Ridge opened on a blistering July morning. The mayor cut a ribbon. High school cheerleaders did a half-hearted routine in front of the automatic doors. Kids clutched balloons. Old men stood around drinking lukewarm coffee. From paper cups and pretending they hadn't already driven out to look at the store 4 times that week. Trinity Ridge didn't get new things often. Not since the paper mill closed. Not since the flooding in 3. But people whispered about the land. The stretch they built the store on used to be an overgrown field, thick with mesquite and vines, just off Highway 14. Local legend called it Devil's Corner, a crooked patch of earth where cows went lame and people claimed to hear voices under the wind. Every couple years some church group would pitch a fit about putting a cross out there to bless it. Never lasted long. Things happened. I didn't believe in that. Kind of crap. Not then. I was 32, recently divorced. My wife had taken our son and moved to Houston. I stayed behind with a mortgage I couldn't afford and a drinking habit I didn't want to name. The Walmart needed nighttime stalkers. I needed something to do with my hands besides shake. The first thing I noticed was how cold it was. They said it was to keep the produce fresh, but I worked in dry goods. I spent 8-hour shifts stocking paper towels and canned beans, and my breath still fogged when I opened a new pallet. No matter how many layers I wore, the cold settled into my bones like it was whispering. Second thing, the lights never stayed the same color. You'd glance down an aisle and the overheads would be this sick greenish hue like algae on old water. Blink, and they'd be blue. Or pinkish, like skin. The manager, a big quiet man named Darnell, said it was just cheap fluorescence, but sometimes the lights weren't just changing color. They were moving, like something was walking just behind them, turning them on and off one by one in a slow line across the ceiling. Always toward you. We laughed about it. At first, called it the Walmart Walker. Then Ray got taken. Ray was 60, Vietnam vet. Laughed like he had a throat full of stones. He stocked pharmacy and snacks, worked slow but thorough. One night, around 3:30, I noticed his cart was still full. Halfway down aisle 6, he wasn't in the bathroom. Wasn't outside smoking. Wasn't clocked out. I heard something then, a dragging sound. Not close, not far, just slow. I followed the sound toward the back, past the double doors, into the storage area. And there, in the freezer, I found his shoe. One of those orthopedic things, laces untied. Still warm. We searched the whole building, called the police, filed reports. They never found him. After that, the store changed. More noises. That hum in the walls got louder. The intercom would flicker to life and speak. Wrong. Words jumbled together like meat being forced through a speaker. One night, it said my name. I was restocking the automotive aisle, hands full of oil filters, when it clicked on and said, He left him burning. I dropped everything. The night crew grew smaller. People quit. Others vanished. No one cared. No one outside noticed, but I noticed something else. The floor plan didn't match the blueprints. I know because I got drunk one night and looked them up at the county office. I measured out the square footage, counted steps, timed my walks from one end to the other. There was extra space. About 1,200 square feet unaccounted for, somewhere near the garden center. So I waited. On a Tuesday night, near the end of my shift, I slipped past the caution tape they'd put up around a section of cracked tile and found a hatch. Metal. Rusted. Unlocked. It opened into blackness. No ladder. Just stone steps spiraling down. I told myself I'd go 5 steps. Just 5. Just to say I did. I went 20 before I realized I'd stopped counting. The walls were wet. Breathing. I swear to God they moved. Pulsed with each breath I took like lungs surrounding me. The smell down there was like mold and dead water. And then I heard it. Not a voice. Not a scream. A baby crying. Somewhere far below. I ran, tripped, cut my leg. Still have the scar. When I got back to the surface, the hatch was gone. Just smooth floor, unbroken. I called in sick. Drank myself stupid. But the next night, I got up and went back, because I was dreaming of it now. Because something in that store knew me, and it was hungry. I tried quitting. Told Darnell I was out. He just nodded. Told me I'd have to return what I took. I didn't understand. But that night, I woke up to find my front door open, my kitchen light on, the sound of a shopping cart creaking down my hallway. Inside it was my son's stuffed rabbit, the one he lost before the divorce. I don't remember screaming, just waking up hours later, the rabbit sitting next to my bed. I tried burning it. It didn't catch. I buried it. The next morning, it was on my porch. Now, I don't sleep. I don't leave the house after dark. I hear carts rolling outside every night and the sound of Darnell calling my name over a dead speaker. There's a Walmart in every town. That's what they tell you. But they're not stores. They're prisons. And the doors don't keep the people in. They keep something else out. Or they used to. It rained the night the generator failed. A long, slow Texas rain that bled down the parking lot of the Walmart outside Raven Hill like someone was washing a corpse. The lights flickered twice, buzzed like angry hornets, then went dark. I stood in aisle 17, holding a case of off-brand soda, staring up into the sudden blackness. I wasn't scared. Not at first. Power outages happened, especially in Raven Hill, where the electrical grid was stitched together with the same half-assed optimism as the roads and the people. The emergency lights kicked on dim red glows in the corners like dying eyes. Waited. No announcement came over the PA. No crackle from the radios. Just silence. And that's when I noticed the store wasn't empty. There was breathing. Not mine. Not anyone I knew. Just shallow, rasping inhalations coming from somewhere past the pet supplies. Like someone was trying not to be heard, but couldn't stop the wet wheeze in their throat. I dropped the soda. Tried my radio. Dead. I made my way toward the break room. Had to pass by the toy section to get there. Those aisles always gave me the creeps. Rows of lifeless plastic smiling things and that high-pitched looping music from one of the demo toys someone forgot to turn off. Except it wasn't looping. It was changing. The melody slowed down, then warped. The words reversed, then became something guttural, like a child choking on its own tongue. The dolls on the end cap shelf had all fallen over except one. She was standing. I swear to God, standing, not propped up. Her tiny plastic feet flat on the shelf. Head tilted just slightly to the side. Her eyes followed me as I passed. I turned away. Kept walking. The break room was empty. A half-eaten sandwich lay open on the table, still fresh. The TV in the corner had gone to static, but not white static red. Faint, flickering red light and a sound like meat being stirred in a pot. I looked at the monitor wall. The security feeds were still rolling, and on every screen I saw myself not standing there in the break room. No. In each feed, I was somewhere different in the store. Walking in produce, standing in the bathroom, crawling through the garden center on all fours, and in every single one, something was following me. A shape. Black. Wrong. Looked like a man. If a man had been stretched like taffy and left in a fire too long. Long limbs, joints that bent the wrong way, eyes that glowed behind a Walmart vest. On the monitor for aisle 17, it stood where I'd just been. It picked up the dropped soda case and smiled. That's when I ran. I tore through the store like a panicked animal, lights flickering and red pulses overhead. The intercom clicked on again. Price, check-in, your bones. I hit the front doors, slammed into them. They didn't open. The glass was ice cold. Outside, the rain had stopped. But it wasn't dry. It was wet in a way that didn't make sense. Like everything had been dipped in oil. The sky was too low, the air too still, and there were people standing in the parking lot, dozens of them. Walmart employees, uniforms soaked, faces blank, eyes glowing faint red. All of them were me, copies, clones, each one holding something from my life, a photo, a shirt, a note my wife left when she took the kids. They pressed their palms to the glass, grinning. And then the lights came back on. Bright, blinding. The doors slid open like nothing had happened. Outside, the lot was empty again. Rain gone. Sky normal. The store behind me hummed like any other. Walmart, fluorescent, sterile. I never went back. I tried telling people, cops, friends. No one believed me. Sighed I was tired. Said it was a breakdown, but here's the thing. 3 months later, I got a call from corporate. They wanted me to come back. Said they needed experienced night staff. Said the store missed me. I hung up. Then the letters started. Then the packages. Last night, someone knocked on my door at 3:12 a.m. I looked through the peephole. There I was. Smiling. Holding a Walmart vest covered in something dark and wet. Saying nothing. Just breathing. And somewhere, deep in the back of my mind, I swear I heard the PA system whisper, roll back. Your soul. I don't think you can ever really quit. Not when the store decides you belong.